Entering line item comments and instructions is next. Like entering serial numbers, click the blue up arrow to enter any number of comment lines or instructions for this item. Order and shipment type documents can print this information if desired. A comment, for example, can be instructed to print on an order or invoice for the customer to see, where an instruction can be printed on a shipping document for internal purposes, possibly for the shipping clerk to see. Then accept or select the ship via code to be used for this item. The default comes from the Customer tab or from the template code. You can then enter a tracking number, such as a waybill number. The system then displays the original order quantity in the event you are recalling an existing order to observe or edit. You can also observe the quantity that was shipped to date if the selected order has already been partially shipped. When entering a new order, the quantity field appears 0. If an existing order contains one or more shipments, the drill indicates that the shipment can be recalled for review. The quantity committed field indicates the quantity of the item that is to be reserved for this order. In this case, the system defaults to the quantity ordered because the default quantity committed setting is specified within OE options. However, some or all non-shipped items can be committed for this order, so the items are not available for someone else to sell. The completed column represents if the detail line is completely shipped. If the quantity ordered is less than the shipped quantity, and yes is entered here, the system will not allow items that have not been shipped on this detail line to be shipped in the future. If the items on this detail line have not been fully shipped, typically this field remains as no. The exceptions are that the customer has decided to cancel the remaining items, or the item is no longer available. The manufacturer's item number will be populated with the manufacturer's item number entered when selecting the item. Remember, you could have defined a manufacturer's item number for the fluorescent desk lamp and enter that item code rather than the A11030 item code. The same is true with the customer item number. You could have entered your customer's item number as the item to be sold, of which that item number would appear here, or manually enter their item number. An order or invoice showing your customer's item number rather than your internal item number can be created, providing an additional service. If the item being entered is defined as non-stock, the non-stock clearing account defined within inventory control will appear here. However, the account can be changed. The last field indicates any optional fields assigned to this item detail. Optional fields will be discussed in Session 7. If the field type selected is miscellaneous, then only selected fields need to be populated. The best way to probably show this is by changing to the zoom view. Accessing the zoom view, only those fields shown in white can be populated. The miscellaneous code, the amount of the miscellaneous charge, if there was a discount, and if any comments or instructions need to be entered. You might even prefer using this zoom mode by pressing the F9 function key for all entered item detail lines. It's a terrific way to view all the fields on one screen rather than have to scroll left or right using the container screen. The buttons at the bottom of the window indicate some global settings. For example, the Item Tax button. Select this button to verify or change the default tax information for the item detail line highlighted. If tax class codes were created correctly, it's possible the tax settings will never have to be changed for the specific item. Selecting it, however, displays the tax authorities that apply to this customer and item. In the example here, this item customer combination shows that both the state and county portion of the tax will get calculated. If this is incorrect for this particular situation, possibly because a taxable customer is purchasing merchandise that he plans to resell, change the tax class so the system calculates the correct tax amount. Modifying the tax class code information will only be for the highlighted item. and the item on this order only. The default settings for this customer item combination returns after the order is posted. Therefore, if the wrong tax information is showing as a default, make the change permanent within either the tax table, the item, or the customer, wherever the problem originates. The Component Items button will be accessible if the item being added to the order is a bill of material or kit item. For example, let's add another item to the order, item A2 image 1500G, and select bill of material number 1. When entering a quantity of 2, for example, when the Components button is clicked, the system displays all the component items that comprise of this item as well as their associated quantities to make the quantity ordered. If the item being ordered is a kit item, such as the A19000 item, the Components button, when selected, will additionally display the quantity in stock of each of the component items. To display the quantity in stock, highlight the component item. The quantity in stock appears in the gray area at the lower portion of the window. The Ship All button can be selected to instantly ship all the possible items entered on the order. This will typically be used when recalling a sales order that has been saved, rather than individually having to select each item to indicate the shipped quantity. Even after selecting this button, a specific detail line can be edited if one or more of the items are not available for shipment. Possibly there are a dozen line items on the order where only one can't be shipped. The bottom portion of the window contains another row of buttons. These buttons are visible from each page. Select the Post button when the order is ready to be posted, or optionally when the items are ready to be shipped or invoiced. Click the Delete button to remove the order entirely. Of course, the order would have to be added first before it can be removed. To delete a specific line item, highlight the line and press the Delete key. The History button can be selected to inquire on previous purchases from this customer. For example, let's say your customer has informed you that they want to purchase the same desk lamp they purchased last time, but they don't remember the model number or description. Click the History button to view the item information for a specific period and year, and even sort by item number rather than customer. Let's say you want to know which customers purchased your desk lamp, item number A11030. Accpac displays all the sales orders where this item exists for all customers. This inquiry window also provides a further drill down into the details of a particular document by selecting the Details button. This will show the invoice information as well as any associated documents such as credit notes and payments that have been made that relate to this document. Simply enter the item number and click the blue Go button. The Prepayment button provides the ability to immediately enter a customer payment. Possibly your customer wants to put a deposit on the items they are purchasing. Selecting this button begins a subset of the Accounts Receivable receipt entry window. Assuming the appropriate rights have been given to the user, an existing receipt batch can be selected to enter the prepayment, or create a new batch. As with normal receipts, enter the date, the system defaults to the order date, the payment code, and a method of payment, in this case a check number for example. Then enter the amount being paid. The top right corner displays the order total, so if the customer wants to pay for the entire amount, that amount is known. The customer page displays the default settings from the customer profile within Accounts Receivable and/or the template code. If it's known at the beginning of an order that one or more customer settings need to be changed, it's best to come to this page first and make the changes before entering any detail lines. Order entry defaults to the customer settings defined here for each detail line created. The Taxes page identifies the customer tax settings. Earlier, we discussed that the Item Tax button on the Order page controls the tax settings for an item. The Taxes page here identifies the tax settings for the customer side of the transaction. The system analyzes both the item and customer tax settings to determine if an item is taxable, and if so, what the tax rate is. The default tax settings can be changed for the order if necessary. Again, if it's known that the order requires a specific customer tax setting, it is best to make changes here first before entering detail lines. The Optional Fields page is where any order type optional fields can be assigned. The Sales Split page displays those salespeople that may earn commission on this order. Up to 5 salespeople per sales order can be assigned. The default salespeople come from the customer profile within Accounts Receivable or from the customer's ship-to address if one is selected. If changes are made, be sure that the total percentage between all the salespeople equals 100%. The Rates page displays the exchange rate information for this customer if multi-currency is being used. The system defaults to the exchange rate as specified within Common Services for the date of the order. The exchange date and/or rate displayed can be changed. The Totals page displays the overall order total as well as any discounts and tax calculations. Overall order comments can be entered at the top here that can be printed on order type documents if elected. The Less Details discount will display any line item discounts that may have been entered, where the Less Order discount field is where an invoice discount can be entered that's calculated on the invoice as a whole rather than individually for each detail line. Accpac displays the calculated tax, as well as any prepayments and term code discounts that apply. On the right side of the screen, the total of any miscellaneous charges can be viewed, and a checkbox that allows miscellaneous charges to be included in any discounts. The lower section of the window is where address labels can be indicated to print, and where the shipment number, if you indicate it to ship items on the order, can be entered or automatically assigned using the word New. If items were indicated to be shipped, it can also be immediately invoiced by clicking the Create Invoice button. If selected, when the order is posted, a shipment and an invoice will also be posted at the same time. If not selected, the order can be recalled and edited later. It can be recalled within the order entry icon here, or recalled within the shipment entry icon to be shipped. When the contents of the order are complete, click the Post button to post the order. The system then prompts to print an order confirmation or subsequently a packing slip and/or invoice if you elected to process a shipment and/or invoice at the same time. The immediate printing of the order or invoice is optional. All order documents can be printed at once at the end of the day by selecting the form to print from within the OE Forms icon.
Let's take a look at shipment entry.